Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the WSBA live here on our Wolverine Studios Twitch channel. We're really excited to have you with us tonight as we prepare for the WSBA Conference Finals, which will pit Philadelphia and Washington in the East and the top two seeds in the West, OKC and Golden State. Both of those teams coming off of 4-0 sweeps to get to the Western Conference Finals, while Philly knocked off the number one team in the East and everybody's favorite and picked to get to the finals, Chicago. And Washington survived, missing a few games from their star Clarence Hopper to get past Miami to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Before we head into tonight's action, I want to thank, as always, our followers who been supporting our channel as we've been growing it this past year, and of course especially our subscribers, whether you're subscribing on your own or with the free Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime link. It doesn't matter how you subscribe to the channel, we just appreciate that you do, and we really appreciate the support. So we are going to get into these conference final games in just a minute. Before we do that, let's take a look at the D-League, who crowned a champion on the last sim, and it was the Memphis Mammoths who brought home the D-League championship. So while the playoffs didn't go as hoped for in the regular league for Memphis, at least they know that their D-League team brought home a championship this year. So congratulations to Kid Coffee Black and his Memphis organization for bringing home the D-League championship. All right, so we are ready to get on to business. This is going to be an epic conference final, especially in the West. I think everybody sort of assumes that the winner of OKC and Golden State will go on to win the whole thing, but we never know. That's why we play the games. So let's get ready for the first night of games here in the conference finals. Philadelphia at Washington and Golden State at OKC. And Washington with a big victory in the first game, and Oklahoma City also goes up 1-0, so the home teams hold serve right off the bat. Let's go back and take a look at those box scores. As expected, Hopper, just a machine. Really in the talk in the race for MVP, I think. He goes for 38 and 12 with 3 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. Also, nice performance out of Kittles there, a plus 13. Battier, a plus 17. Look at the bench, plus 19, plus 14, plus 19, plus 14. Big time bench production there, as it was just a blowout. Philadelphia, Warren again limited in his minutes. That seems to be the trend with the Philadelphia coaching staff. It worked. It worked in the last round against Chicago. We'll see if it pays off here. Mitchell against Chicago was fantastic. He did his job with 22 and 11, but not much else there going on for Philly. They'll have to get that turned around quickly. Golden State OKC, 111-129. Sean Roberts, 37, 17, 5 blocks. Sambatashvili, 31 and 14. Bishop with 25. So the starters really poured it on there for OKC. Lee Taylor held to 19 points. Look at the 3-point shooting in that game. 12 for 25 for OKC and 13 for 35 for Golden State. There's Washington Van in the channel. Happy to know that he's up 1, even though he's putting his money on Philly for some reason. Washington is the home team in that series. They should be favored to win. But just impressive by the big guns from Oklahoma City. Golden State's going to have to figure out a way to slow those guys down. Let's move on here to Game 2. 1-0 lead for the home teams. Let's see if they can keep it going. And Washington wins a close one there. And OKC wins a close one as well. The big three there for OKC getting the job done. So, no surprise through the first two games as the home teams hold home court there. There's always the saying that a series never begins until a home team loses a game. Let's take a look at Game 2 from Philly and Washington. As for Philly, Mitchell again, 37. They go with Warren on heavy minutes this time, and he comes through with one of his patented triple-doubles with a 14 points, 18 assists, and 12 rebounds. So they got the big game out of Warren, but still wasn't enough, as Hopper had 27, 11, and 8, almost another triple-double for him. Nice bench play again from Braswell and Giles for Washington. The Philadelphia bench, nothing but negatives on the floor there. Even Mitchell accounted for a negative 12 points, negative 12 plus minus rather, on his night, despite having 37 points. That big first quarter there for Washington, 42-28. Philly will be looking to turn this around as they get home court for Game 3. A lot of points in the paint in this game. 60 for Washington, 50 for Philly. As both teams did a very good job scoring inside. You can look at the field goal percentages there: 52.7 for Philly, 58.3 for Washington. 14 free throw difference, so that definitely made a difference for the home team there. A little bit of home cooking maybe for Washington. Out west, Game 2, Golden State now finds themselves down 2-0 as Sean Roberts, just total beast mode again, 33, 19, 6 blocks in this game. Bishop and Savadashvili combined for 49 points. Also both solid on the boards and assists. Montgomery, plus 18 off the bench, so solid minutes from him. Golden State got 34 out of Lee Taylor, but they're just going to need more. Taylor's going to have some kind of massive game or something, I think, to get Golden State over the hump here. Either that or somebody else has got to step up big time. Golden State shoots 12 for 40 from downtown. They got to get those threes going. Only 30% in this game. 6 for 20 from OKC. As you can see, they did most of their damage in the paint. OKC had a 29-point lead at one point. Golden State made a nice comeback in the third quarter. Just not enough to win, though. So we've got everybody at 2-0 for the home teams. Now Philly and Golden State get their crack at home games. There's Genie. Welcome. Genie, maybe now that he is here, he can provide that spark that his Golden State Spartans need. All right, here we go. Game 3 of the conference finals. And Philadelphia wins, but loses Mike Mitchell to an injury. And OKC takes a commanding 3-0 lead on the road. So we will grab a quick save here. And yeah, Genie down 3-0. Not looking good there. Let's take a look at the Washington-Philly game as Mike Mitchell suffers an injury. We'll see how bad that is in just a second. He had 19 and 8. They go with Warren kind of in a mid-range number of minutes this game. Game 1, he didn't play that many at all. Didn't work out. Game 2, he played a bunch. Had a triple-double. Game 3, I don't know, interesting move by the coaching staff at Philly. Keep juggling his minutes. This time he almost has a triple-double, but it's good enough for a victory. On the Washington side, Hopper had 23. Not much on the boards, though, so they did a good job keeping him off the boards. Points in the paint, different story this game. And Washington with only 2 second chance points, so Philadelphia does a nice job on the boards this game, and that might be a key to them staying competitive or even possibly winning this series. And Mitchell, although losing Mitchell for the rest of this series is going to be devastating for them, as he has been ruled out with that strained abdominal. So that is going to be a crushing blow to Philly. We'll see how they look in Game 4 without Mitchell. But it looks like he tried to gut it out and finish the game to get the victory for them. But afterwards, it looks like he is just going to miss the rest of this series. So that is a tough blow for Philly. Meanwhile, out west, OKC with that fast start again. Golden State has been just rough in that first quarter. Roberts with 37, 20, 7 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. For as good as Hopper has been, I don't know if anybody's been better than Roberts, though. Roberts has just been a monster. Bishop and Sambatashvili, again, doing their thing. You know, OKC, really, if you look at them, once you get past their big three, they don't get a lot of production out of anybody else, but those big three are fantastic. On the Golden State side, Taylor did what he could with 37. Again, their three-point shooting, only 34.4% this game. It's just not been great this entire series. OKC has done a nice job defensively. Taylor hit 7 of those 3, so the rest of the team was 4 for 18, if I can do math, for threes. Golden State has just not gotten anything out of anybody else other than Taylor in this series. And just one star is not going to be enough to beat OKC. Golden State really needed a lot of help out of some other guys, like maybe Carlisle or Lynch, or even Tennell off the bench. They just haven't gotten it in this series. CTG, welcome to our stream. We love the work they're doing with their streams, so make sure you're following us on Twitter, because we always retweet when they're going live and stuff like that. You can check out their streams, what they're doing with the games. And here we are, Game 4 of the series. Philly without Mitchell, and Golden State down 3-0. So this is a huge game, obviously, for Golden State to stay alive, but for Philly really to stay in this series as well. And Washington 130-115, and Oklahoma City completes the sweep over Golden State 113-100. So as expected, Oklahoma City will be in the finals. They were the best team all year long, just super dominant. And it's not a surprise that they're in the finals. We'll take a look at their box score first this time. As again, Sean Roberts, he might as well just be player of the game going forward, because he is not going to stop. 32 points, 13 boards, 7 assists, 3 steals, 5 blocks, 8 from 8 from the line, 12 for 25 from the field. He's just unbelievable performance in this series. Sambatashvili and Bishop again did their thing. 21 and 12 for Shada. Taylor held to 15 points. Only 3 out of 8. Again, Golden State only shoots 36.4% from 3. And for a team that relies heavily on the 3, they just didn't have it this series. 70 points in the paint for OKC, as Roberts was just flat out dominant. They really didn't have much of an answer for him. Golden State kept it close, though, down to that final quarter there. As you can see, they lose that one by 11. So they were only down 2 going into the fourth. But just nobody's been... Houston got 1 game on OKC in round 1, and then it's been sweep for OKC after that. Jeannie says heads must roll. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Jeannie. I think everything went pretty well for Golden State. They just ran into a dominant team here. Out east, without Mitchell, Philly is looking a little lost there. Not much answer for Hopper, who gets his triple-double, 36, 13 assists, and 18 boards. If Washington goes on to win, that's going to be a great matchup in the finals. Hopper against Sean Roberts. Battier with 21, 18 for Kittle, 17 for Reese. Warren had 20 and 10 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, 7 turnovers, though, and fouls out in just 26 minutes. So Warren limited his own playing time this game by fouling out. Free throws, again, big story. Washington on the road here gets 34 free throws to only 18 for Philly. Washington has just done a much better job attacking the basket. Obviously, in this series, getting to the line, Hopper, 12 for 14 at the line. Hopper takes almost as many free throws as the entire Philly team combined there. That's going to be tough to overcome for anybody. So it looks like we are headed for an OKC-Washington final. Van is our last hope, perhaps, against the AI here, as Oklahoma City is an AI-run team. We have a question before we get to the fifth game here. Is there such a thing as playoff intensity in the simulation? Yes. In the playoffs, there is a little bit of boost, I guess, for playoff intensity as well as for experience, too, in the playoffs. So if you have a more experienced team, they get a tiny boost in the playoffs for that as well. Kind of, if they've been there before, they're used to the playoffs. It's a little bit different story. You also notice that when the AI is in control of the depth charts, the AI will ratchet up the minutes for the starters in the playoffs as well. So they'll kind of cut back a little bit during the regular season on those minutes, and then when they get to the playoffs, they will ratchet them up. And obviously, we are all in this league, we human-owned teams, but we're playing in a GM style only, so our coaching staffs are taking that into account as well and increasing the minutes for the starters in their sub-matrices. All right, Game 5 here with Washington having the chance to close out Philly without Mike Mitchell. I don't know if there's much hope for Philly here, but we'll see. We'll see if they can at least steal one more and send the series back to Philly. Nope, 84-104. Washington wins by 20 as Hopper with another super dominant performance. As the sim will now advance us to the finals, where we will leave off for the night. And we'll go back and check out that last box score. Chris says freedom died. Well, I think they kind of died when Mike Mitchell went down. They didn't stand much of a chance after that. There was nobody to slow Hopper down after that. Hopper with 13, 14, and 8. Nice job by Kittles with 13 boards. Free throw discrepancy again. Washington made a nice living off of that in the series. Van says he's next on the OK sweep parade, most likely, but Hopper and Sean Roberts is going to be a really good matchup. On the Philly side, they again limit Warren's minutes just to 19 this game, although foul trouble may have had something to do with that again. He had a number of games this playoffs in foul trouble. Smith did what he could trying to take over the offense, but without Mike Mitchell there just wasn't much for Philly to rely on. Warren was an average, decent to average scorer during the year, but he really was a facilitator and also a solid rebounder for Mitchell. So without Mitchell, it was just too tough for Philly there. Van says he's a post-based team that leads to free throws. That's true. If you swing the ball down there into the paint or drive, you're going to end up more free throws than a team launching 45 threes like Philly. And they shoot 8 for 45 here, 17.8%. Washington didn't shoot great for 3 either, but they only shot 13 of them. So definitely a opposite strategies there. Philly trying to go more outside, especially without Mitchell. Didn't work. Jeannie says he hasn't been beat like that since he took some cookies from the cookie jar. Definitely a beating there by OKC, but no shame in that. Everybody else suffered the same fate as well. So we will be on the finals next week. I know Random Task asked about, are we going to live stream the finals? I don't know what our plan for the final will be yet. If we're just going to sim it out, or if we're going to show a game, we'll kind of think about that. And after the finals, we'll have the lottery as well. I don't know if that'll be a separate stream. We haven't been through an off season yet, so we'll kind of see how things work out here. We'll check out the game preview here. Just for game 1, obviously that's all we can see. Look at the matchup coming up here with Hopper and Sean Roberts, both averaging almost 27 a game. Leaders in assists, Tim Reese and Sambatashvili. And of course on the boards, Hopper and Roberts very close as well, 11.3 to 11.1. No injured players for either team. If you look at the team matchup stats, OKC with an advantage both offensively and slightly defensively. The field goal percentage very solid for OKC, not too bad for Washington, but and pretty close on blocks and steals. So this is going to be, if Washington and OKC both commit to playing inside through Hopper and Roberts, it's going to be very interesting. As Van says, Roberts versus Hopper is a war. Definitely the advantage in the point guard slot to Sambatashvili over Reese. But it's going to be an interesting finals. I think OKC obviously a huge favorite here, coming in winning 10 straight games as they've swept Golden State, swept Utah, and won the last 2 against Houston. I'm actually surprised Houston somehow got a victory in that series, but Houston had their number a couple of times during the regular season too. So maybe Washington needs to go and check out some game film from Houston to see what they did against OKC, and see if the coaching staffs can figure it out. But we got OKC hosting Washington in the first ever WSBA finals. That'll be coming to us next week. I'm glad both teams have their stars healthy. Hopper got injured earlier in that series with Brooklyn in the last game, and he missed the first 2 games. I think it was against Miami when Washington fell in a 2-0 hole. But I'm glad Hopper and Roberts are both healthy, and that's going to be a heck of a battle as we get ready to kick off the first ever WSBA finals next week. So that'll do it for us tonight. I thank you all for joining us all season long as we've been on the road to the finals here, and we finally have gotten there with OKC and Washington. So congrats to Van, and congrats to the evil AI opponent as well for steamrolling everybody through the year. We will be back next Tuesday here at 8 o'clock for the finals and probably the lottery as well. So that way even the bad teams have something to cheer for next week as they cheer for the opportunity to win the number 1 pick. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this finals plays out. If it's maybe if it's a close one, we can live stream a game. If it's not, maybe we'll just sim through and let the AI dominate for OKC. But we'll see. I think Washington with Hopper has a chance. I think Hopper and Roberts will be a great matchup, and Hopper can keep them in that series. So we'll see. So thanks everybody for coming out this week. We will update the site and files shortly, and we'll see you back here next week. Van, best of luck to you next week against the dreaded AI for OKC. If you're interested in joining the league, by the way, we have openings for some teams like OKC, and I know we've had a couple of applications come in over the past maybe 2 or 3 weeks that I didn't want to bring anybody in right at the end of the season, so we might have some new guys coming in as well. But there's definitely spaces available for more people if you'd like to join. You can always go to draftdaysports.com/WSBA to find out which teams are open, to see more about the league, and hopefully we'll have everybody back next season and some new blood as well. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks to our followers and our subscribers especially, and we'll see you all back here next week at 8 o'clock for the WSBA finals. Thanks everybody. Have yourselves a great week, and we'll see you soon.